Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tori if you're new here, and today I am going to be showing you some shelf-stable meals that you can put together. So these meals are items from your prepper pantry that you can bring out and cook. I'm going to be cooking in my kitchen here, but of course if you lose power, if you have a grill outside or maybe a fire pit, these will work too. I wanted to try something different with this video where I show you the cheapest ingredients. So I'm going to compare 3 stores and show you where you can get these items the cheapest. I'm excited because I'm including a dessert in this video, which isn't typically me, but if you are new here, we would love it if you hit that subscribe button. We make videos 4 to 5 times a week all about life here in Northern Colorado. So make sure your bell notification is turned on. Give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let's get right into these recipes. I'd like to start out by saying that all of the recipes will be typed out in the description box below, as well as where you can find these ingredients the cheapest. Starting out, we have a blueberry oat bake. This may be surprising to you because I'm not a dessert girl or an oatmeal girl. So we are starting off with some blueberries. I had canned these previously and then just kind of dumped them out here. You could freeze them if you wanted to, or you could just use blueberry pie filling, but I just add some warm water, a little bit of cornstarch, some honey or maple syrup, a pinch of salt, a little bit of vanilla and cinnamon, and I just cook that, simmer it until it is well combined, and I freeze it. And then next up is going to be coconut oil. You could use ghee in replace of this. You need some cornstarch for a thickener, as well as some old-fashioned oats or whichever you prefer, and then some flaxseed meal for another thickener. That could be your egg replacer unless you have some shelf-stable egg powder, or maybe you took some eggs and put them in some pickling lime. I've seen that done before. The first step is to put your blueberry in the bottom of a crock pot. You could do this in a baking dish as well. And then in this mixture here, I have 2 cups of oats, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of flaxseed meal. I have a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon, and that is it. I just kind of mix this all together here, and I am just using half of that mixture, so the other half will be put on top. Please, this is just such a beautiful color. Please admire that right there. I just noticed that. You're going to take those oats and put it on top, the remaining mixture here, and then you're going to take your coconut oil buttery style flavor. You could also use ghee here, like I was saying, or maybe you have butter on your countertop, which a lot of people do that too. My grandmother, my Mimi growing up did that, so maybe you have that, and if you don't do oil, then just don't do it. I'm going to put these on here, and I add about a half cup to a cup of water on top halfway. This cooked low and slow for 3 hours, and I served it with a whipped cream, shelf stable. I took some full fat coconut cream, a little bit of powdered sugar and vanilla, and whipped that together. You could alternatively use maple syrup if you wanted to, and it was delicious. Moving on to this phenomenal Cajun rice dish. This is so yummy. I have done versions of this before, but this is really tasty. I suggest you try it. It would be really great served with cornbread. How many times can I say really? We have mixed chili beans here. You're going to want to keep all of that flavor in there, so don't rinse those. And then rinse your green beans. You're going to need some Creole seasoning and crushed tomatoes, just half of that large can, and some seasoning. So garlic powder, I'm going to add extra, although it's in the Creole seasoning, and some minced onion, and then some rice. I'm just using instant rice. You could use regular rice and leave this in longer if you wanted to. Essentially, you are putting every single thing in a dish. I'm showing you here, you could add some extra protein. This is the Loma Luna tuna with sriracha. That's really good. Or you could use regular tuna. Sorry, it's flipped here. You could use canned chicken. You could use extra beans if you wanted to. Or I have done sweet potatoes before. They store really well in my prepper pantry if I keep them out of light. I have 2 cups of rice here. Looking back, I probably would have added another cup. It got a bit saucy, and it's just because that tomato sauce is pretty strong. So you are adding all of these to your dish here, and you're going to bake it at 400 for around 20 minutes. And I found that that was a perfect time for that rice to get nice and fluffy. But like I said, this was so good. It had such a rich flavor. I lost power recently, and I tried this version, I guess you could say, over the fire pit in a cast iron, and I will say it tasted better that way. But let me know if you try this. I will say this dish does contain a lot of sodium, so make sure you are hydrating and adding a splash of coconut water in there. That's always a great source of hydration. Moving on to this pumpkin cream tortellini. I am excited to share this because it means fall is around the corner. Yay. We have just a little bit of ingredients here. You can sub out anything that you'd like, but this is what I had on hand. So we have some shelf-stable tortellini. You know, I get that at Target. It is the cheapest place I can find it. And then we have some Alfredo sauce. This is where I'm talking about you could just use a jar of Alfredo sauce, but I'm just using that because it stores better. It doesn't take up a lot of room. And then a little bit of pumpkin garlic powder. And you could use white chicken for this, or you could use cannellini beans if you're plant-based or you don't eat meat. What you're going to be doing is cooking your tortellini according to the package, and then you are just adding everything to that warm tortellini. So I have the whole packet of Alfredo powder here, and I'm just adding a cup of warm water. It calls for milk, but water is just fine. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of the pumpkin puree, a little bit of garlic powder, and then I'm going to mix this together. Now, I am adding green onion. I am counting this as a prepper pantry staple because it can be dried or it can just sit in your windowsill and it just thrives all year around. This is very, very tasty. My kids absolutely loved it. If you're looking for something non-dairy, you could just sub out regular pasta and then use this brand's pesto instead of the Alfredo. Now, moving on, this would be great to serve with any of this. It is a classic bread recipe. I had some requests when I said it in the last video that this plant-based bread is just as good as regular bread. So we're putting 1 packet of yeast in there, and we're doing 1 cup of warm water. You saw me put a drizzle of agave in there. That is my sweetener of choice. You could use maple syrup, you could use honey, you could use classic sugar if you wanted to. You're going to cover that for 10 minutes. And then you're going to start adding the rest of your ingredients. So a drizzle of olive oil and 1 cup of flour. I mix that together, and then I add my 2nd cup of flour. I mix that together again, and I add my 3rd cup of flour. And that is it. Again, everything will be in the description box, but it is the easiest bread ever. It's fluffy. The key is having the patience to let it rise. I am making some sort of bread, whether it be buns, a loaf of bread, hot dog rolls, hoagie rolls, probably every other day. So I have this down by now, but you need to cover this and let it sit in a warm, dark area. I put it in my oven, of course, with the oven off for around an hour or 2. I put it in before we take our walk or run for the day, and when I come back, I can bake the bread. This bread is amazing. I cooked it at 400 for around 15 to 20 minutes, but it's totally up to you. We take that coconut buttery spread and spread it over the top as it comes out, and it just adds this really beautiful flavor. Honestly, it's so yummy. We like this in the morning with some fresh preserves, or you could just do your classic butter, but I think it is amazing. I have saved the best for last. These are my favorite. They are some loaded polenta French fries, and this is all you're gonna need. So we have a block of polenta here, and I like the Ancient Harvest. You can pick this up anywhere, but I find Walmart to be the cheapest. I have some enchilada sauce here. You could use green or red. And then I have some beans and some corn. So right on the polenta, it says polenta fries as a suggestion. I used to go to this restaurant in Boulder called Salt, and they would deep fry their polenta in little cubes with some Parmesan and pickled red onions, and it was out of this world delicious. So I am cutting my polenta into fry shapes, and I'm putting it on a baking sheet with my oven preheating to 400. And then I'm going to add some olive oil, salt, and pepper. You could add whatever seasonings you want to this, and I'm going to bake it for 20 minutes, and I'm going to flip halfway. I am adding half a jar of this enchilada sauce. If you had a smaller jar, that would work just fine. And then I rinsed and drained my black beans and corn, and I put that in as well. And then I'm just adding some cumin and some chili powder, salt and pepper, and I'm going to mix that together and set it aside. And what I end up doing is making my homemade crema. This is non-dairy. I just take some cashews and I soak them overnight. I blend them with some warm water in a high-speed blender, and then I add a splash of apple cider vinegar, and then I just add water to thin it out, as well as some lime juice, and this becomes my crema. I did add a little bit of garlic powder to this one and a little bit more water to thin it out, but this is a great option if you don't have any sour cream on hand, although I have seen some sour cream powder as a freeze-dried staple in some prepper pantries. So that's totally up to you, but if you are non-dairy like myself, this is a great option. I ended up putting this in a baking dish and kind of separating the fries here so all of the yummy ingredients could get incorporated, and I just drizzle that crema right on top. This is amazing. I love anything loaded when it comes to French fries. So I hope you enjoyed these recipes. I hope this gave you some inspiration to shop your pantry, see what you can come up with on your own. Let me know any of your fun ingredients that you find in your pantry. I always love making meals for you. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative, and I will see you all next time. Thanks so much for being here. Bye, y'all.
Just another Friday in paradise. So bring your A game, 'cause you know this party won't stop. We can never run out of time, simply